a battle on the beach. Welcome to the start of the summer. Welcome to one of the big three special events of the year. Welcome to SummerSpark. It is I, Papi Styles, calling the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. And we have quite possibly one of the biggest cards in KPW history here tonight. 4 championship bouts, a high tensions rematch, and the first ever casket match in KPW history, all underneath this banner here tonight. And speaking of some of those championship matches, look no further than the tag team championship scene, the Scheme, Bloom, and Bilko. A very surprising, unexpected holder of the torches in the tag team division. Just 2 weeks into their championship reign, they are about to make their first defense of the gold later on tonight when they take on Chaos Control, Kruger, Papyrus, and what could very well be one of the most destructive tag team matches in KPW history. And speaking of destruction, we've seen plenty of destruction in correlation with the Hellhounds. K-Dog obviously still undergoing some serious rehabilitation away from the ring after what we saw between him and the world champion all those weeks ago. His cohort, his partner, his brother in arms, the Scrapyard Saint Solo, will be in action later on tonight. A rematch from Mayhem just 1 month ago. Can he go 2-0 against the Viceroy, the 2026 Lethal Lottery winner, Jedi? The larger question at hand is if Solo could get the job done clean. That was something that Jedi has been able to hold over this man over the course of the past month. He's been pulling in all sorts of directions, not just pertaining to the Hellhounds, but to Popcorn Papi, who will be in action in our main event later on tonight. But before we get to that point, folks, we do need to talk about the Twitch Championship, a true against all odds scenario, as the Twitch champion Opulence enters the Iron Gauntlet, where 7 challengers await him. And in order for him to retain the Twitch Championship, folks, Opulence is going to have to go the distance. He's going to have to hang in there with 7 of KPW's best and brightest in the Twitch division. But that is not all. What we can also expect to see is what many would consider a dream, others a nightmarish scenario where all bets are off, the gloves have been taken off between these 2 challengers, these 2 explosive personalities. The hired gun of the director, the misfit, the ultimate male, as Steven Gilbert likes to coin him. Bob has only one goal in mind here tonight, folks. He is out for blood. He is out to lay an icon to rest, as he will be taking on Ding in the first ever casket match. Another high stakes scenario later on tonight, as the World Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. Who knows what sort of condition Popcorn Papi will be in when he defends the gold against Dynamite Danny Axel, a man that has been on one hell of a runaway train ever since he returned to action in February, returning to the squared circle just a few short months ago. And if Dynamite Danny Axel gets his way here tonight, he can very well usher in a new mad season of professional wrestling. And it all starts by taking down the Street Fighter by any means necessary. But to kick off tonight's festivities, folks, the American Championship will be up for grabs as one of the biggest rising stars in all of KPW right now. A man that is on a very similar hot streak, James Kay Zee, defends the American Championship against the returning King of Stego Style. We haven't seen him since the Stampede, Cory Sinclair. And it looks like we won't have to wait long to see if the rust has been shaken off. Cory Sinclair has gone completely off the deep end from the last time we saw him step foot in a KPW ring. He retreated to get a sense of sanity, to collect himself. A level-headed Cory Sinclair is one of the most dangerous strikers in KPW history, but will he pose enough of a threat to derail the momentum of the American champion, James Kay Zee? That question is going to be answered in just mere seconds. James Kay Zee has ran through the sauce. He's ran through David Rush, Kabuki, Sergeant Foxtrot. He's put up some impressive numbers against the likes of Ding, Dynamite Danny Axel. This is an elite level combatant in the making here, folks. And a victory against the King of Stego Style could really launch this man into the stratosphere here tonight. A night where legends are born and old flames can be extinguished at SummerSpark. James Kay Zee going for a knee to the sternum of the returning Cory Sinclair. Cory Sinclair going for some submission approaches here, as opposed to his tried and true method of heavy striking. Running into a Fujiwara armbar. This is certainly going to be a harsh clashing of styles to kick off SummerSpark here tonight. James Kay Zee trying to go for a double leg takedown. Cory Sinclair sidesteps him, goes for a running bulldog. Lands James Kay Zee into the mat. James, he's quite a tough champion, a very resilient champion. This is exactly the kind of action that he was craving here tonight. Cory Sinclair, a former hardcore champion, a former Twitch champion. He's got plenty of skin in the game, but he has never been able to call himself an American champion, and that much could change in the blink of an eye. Plenty of homework to be done at the behest of the American champion, James Kay Zee. We've seen Cory Sinclair in KPW from day one here, folks. Plenty of footage to roll back through, plenty of strategy to circumvent here. Cory Sinclair playing mind games, trying to stay one step ahead. Rolling wheel kick by Cory Sinclair. And think of the frame of reference in comparison that Cory Sinclair has on the American champion, James Kay Zee. The only thing he has as a frame of reference is the challenge that James threw out this past Monday night on Warzone. They have only ever shared a locker room for one night. Spring Stampede, the very night that James Kay Zee made his KPW debut. Heavy headbutts by the King of Stego style. Continuing the head-based offense, looking to put James Kay Zee to sleep with a triangle choke. Or rapid-fire headbutts. James Kay Zee going low on Cory Sinclair. Pop-up knee strike to the head of Cory. James is a rough, rugged fighter. He does not believe in the advent of shortcuts. He will do whatever it takes to have his hand raised when that bell rings once again. And he expects the same of anybody he steps foot in the ring with here in KPW. Left hook to the sternum of Cory Sinclair, sending him through the middle ropes. Overhead shot takes down James Kay Zee. 1,
2, 3, 4.
Cory Sinclair trying to outwit the champion, outpace the champion. We know the level of conditioning that Cory Sinclair has in the square circle. This is a real proving grounds here tonight for the American champion. And that is exactly the way that he would want things to go. Flurry of strikes by James Kay Zee. Irish whip from side to side. Back-to-back elbows by the champion. Double underhook suplex secured with a knee strike to the gut of Cory Sinclair. Irish whip bouncing off the ropes. A monkey flip by the King of Stego style. One of the most eccentric combatants that we've ever seen here. Don't let his oddity style, his unconventional tactics get the guard lowered. It's exactly what has made Cory Sinclair a multiple-time champion. It's what's allowed him to compete in main events for the World Heavyweight Championship. understand what this is a test for regarding Cory Sinclair. This is exactly the proving grounds that he needs here tonight.
1, 2.
Proving grounds that he needs to consider himself as a king here in KPW. He wants to prove to the world that he deserves to be called the king of Stego style.
9.
And if he is fit to hold the crown jewel, that American Championship,
13.
that would certainly be one hell of a start back towards the glory of being at the top of the mountain.
16.
James Kay Zee naturally having an advantage outside of the ring. When the fisticuffs fly, Cory Sinclair's discipline, aggression is more befitting inside the squared circle. Back and forth blows between champion and challenger. Cory Sinclair is the one that takes the tumble. Drop down, sidesteps the big boot attempt. This could be the momentum shift that Cory Sinclair needs. This is exactly the kind of comeback he's looking for. Drop toe hold counter. James Kay Zee, quick with his wit, using the momentum of Cory Sinclair against him. Cinching in that reverse armbar. Cory Sinclair goes low on the American champion. Sleeper hold cinched in. James Kay Zee a long ways away from the ropes. And now is not the time for the American champion to show any sign of weakness. Around Cory Sinclair, a knee strike to Cory, but Cory stays on his 2 feet. Rolling wheel kick. Second one attempted by Cory, but James Kay Zee was ready for it. Hard left hook. Gonna do some serious damage to the kidneys. We didn't know going into this bout what kind of ring rust Cory Sinclair was working with here, but he has not missed a step. Every motion that he has taken has been deliberate from the start. Noggin knocker, both men get off of their feet. And we are still at a stalemate here tonight, folks. Arm and elbow transition, double underhook suplex, successful. The only pinfall that has been attempted in these past 11 minutes is on the urges of the American champion. And the only thing it yielded was a rope break. Cory Sinclair using his body to keep James Kay Zee away from the ropes in that crossbow lock. A hard boot to the gut of Cory Sinclair as he tried to sidestep the big boot. James Kay Zee correcting his course. Now James going after the arms of Cory Sinclair. Takes away a lot of the strength that Cory Sinclair is going to need to lift James up high. The oil spill. That patented electric chair drop. Stereo German suplexes. And James Kay Zee cannot be denied. We thought that the American champion was biting off a little bit more than he could chew. Quite the advantageous and ambitious challenge that he laid out just 5 nights ago on Warzone. Cory Sinclair, to his credit, answered that call. He was ready to make a difference. He was ready to make one hell of a comeback here tonight. But it is not all sunshine and rainbows for the king of Stego style. James Kay Zee continues to steamroll through the competition. He continues to make his ascent here in KPW. And he can continue to call himself the American champion. But ladies and gentlemen, if you thought that opening bout was intense, feast your eyes on what is about to unfold coming up next. Vigilante versus Misfit, the Icon versus the Ultimate Male. Bawb goes one-on-one with the man they call Ding in the first ever casket match in KPW history.
The midnight hour is here. Their misfit is my ultimate force of destruction. The ultimate male, the object of Ding's demise. Embody the devil himself and shackle Ding to the deepest circle of hell.
From the deepest circles of hell, the director has channeled some unholy powers and has unleashed one hell of a monster to the chagrin of the man they call Ding. Ding is not marching down that aisle to face the ordinary man, the ordinary challenger. This will not be a run-of-the-mill battle for a former World Heavyweight Champion like Ding. Bawb is looking to move with absolute determination. He is looking to fulfill his destiny, fulfill his economic obligations to Steven Gilbert, and eviscerate, destroy Ding here tonight in a casket match. And Bawb is already on the offense. He is already applying some serious pressure to the Dinger. Bawb already clearing the ring of Ding. And in order to win a casket match, folks, you have to position and place the other individual in this bout inside a casket placed at ringside. In order to secure the referee's correspondence to lift open that casket lid. Both Bawb and Ding have agreed that in order to get the honors done, they have to secure at least a pinfall on each other. They have that ability to open up the casket. Big splash in the corner. Ding fighting back. And for the past several months, we have seen Ding, against all odds, perhaps against reason, try to reason with the misfit, with the man that Steven Gilbert has deemed the ultimate male. This 300-pound freak of nature known as Bawb. But Bawb is only concerned about one thing and one thing only. Concerned about himself, concerned about his pursuit of the almighty dollar, his pursuit of almighty glory. This could very well just be another Saturday night for the Misfit. But Bawb has very consistently had the better of Ding. He's gotten the upper hand on Ding countless times over the course of the past several months. Ding could very well be in for the fight of his life here. A vicious running boot by the 300-pound Bawb. Irish whip and a leapfrog by Bawb. I don't know what the hell I was expecting out of this man. I certainly wasn't expecting him to take to the skies here. First cover of the bout. And all of these bouts here tonight, they have a 60-minute time limit in effect, including championship bouts. And there are 3 more of those to go here tonight, folks, including the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship. Popcorn Papi, no matter what condition he's in to fight, must defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Dynamite Danny Axel. Leaping lariat by Bawb. Big splash to follow up. Another rapid pinfall. A kick out by Ding. And Bawb, he is just moving with so much oppression against the Dinger. Ding going for those padded low blows. Just when Ding thought he was going to have the advantage over the Misfit going into this bout, the tides have shifted extremely quickly, extremely brutally. Against the Vigilante. For months, Ding was absolutely untouchable. He was a forceful, a vengeful spirit. And Bawb Bob is continuing to be this man's kryptonite. Bob soaring to the top rope here. Surfboard stretch by Ding to Bob as he regains a little bit of control in this bout here. Take the strength out of the arms of Bob, cut him down to size. Take the strength out of his legs. Military press slam. And this bout continues to be an uphill climb for Ding. Clothesline from the top. Bob continuing the pressure. Senton onto the back of the Dinger. Ding gets suplexed right back into the ring. Bob is absolutely merciless here tonight. An overhead clubbing blow from the Misfit. Another vulgar display of power. Not just from Bob here tonight, but by association, Steven Gilbert. So much complicated history going into this casket match here tonight, as Bob does the bidding of the director once again. Steven Gilbert, the first man blindsided by Ding ever since he returned back in November, has not let that incident go lightly. He's been plotting, orchestrating a way to get back at the man called Ding, and he doesn't even have the guts, he doesn't even have the nerve to stand across the ring from Ding. He has to get his 300-pound heavy, his bodyguard, a man that he had to financially convince to do his bidding. A man that would have otherwise wanted nothing to do with him. Conduct business for him. That's not to say that he's not getting his money's worth. Bob is certainly one of the most dangerous men in all of KPW history. The only championship that he hasn't put his hands around, the only championship that he hasn't worn around that waist of his, is the World Heavyweight Championship. A two-time tag team champion, a former Twitch champion, a former hardcore champion, and the first ever American champion. Bob has damn near done it all. And he's looking to do damn near everything but kill this man here tonight at SummerSpark. Irish whip counter by Bob, sending Ding right to the ropes. Ding trying to pump the brakes wherever he can, but Bob has been consistent in closing the gap, keeping the pressure high. Bob is not looking to waste any time whatsoever here. Drop down. Got him by the throat here. Last caress, choke slam, hooks the leg.
2, 3.
And things have just gone from bad to worse. Bob now has the right to put an end to this bout whenever he so chooses. All he has to do is to get the referees to lift the casket lid for Bob to chuck the Dinger inside. Big dive to the floor, but Ding moves out of the way. the chance for hope for the Dinger, and Bawb gives him a taste of his own medicine, letting him eat the floor here tonight. If Ding wants to have the same luxuries as the Misfit going into this bout, if he wants to have a chance of survival, he needs to mount up whatever he can, muster up whatever gas he's got left in the tank. He has to even the score here against a man that is overwhelming him, not just in reach, but he's got 40 pounds over the Dinger. And he is feeling every bit of that force. Striking exchange between these two men. Bawb getting the upper hand here. He has just been consistent and getting the upper hand over Ding. He is continuing to do so here tonight. But that is not to say that Ding has been able to get underneath the skin of both Bawb and Steven Gilbert. He's at least partially responsible for Bawb and Steven Gilbert no longer calling themselves the tag team champions. Bringing Ding's head into the turnbuckle, slingshot back inside the ring. And now Bawb is taking that sweet time to mock and humiliate and embarrass Ding. He is not just aiming to bury Ding 6 feet under. He is looking to expose Ding here tonight. Looking to go for character assassination. Steven Gilbert must have busted out the big bucks here tonight. Busted out some premiums. Samoan drop from the second rope. And Ding might very well be broken in half at this rate. Bawb, sinister intentions. Standing atop. Going for a diving clothesline. Ding sidesteps it. This could be everything that he's been waiting for here. Sometimes just one mistake is all it takes to change the course of history. Big dive from inside the ring down to the floor, clearing that top rope with ease. And just like that just goes to show the disparity, the level of offense that has been dished out between both of these parties. Bawb is still very much in control of this. Another big splash, this time on the floor. Ding clutching at his ribs. Bawb looking to keep that pressure up here. A military press slam on the concrete part of the floor. No padding to make things a little bit easier for Ding, but Ding is looking to dish out even more pain. A reverse suplex onto the concrete. Ding took too much time to make a rallying cry to the fellow Dingers in the Kumite Forum here tonight. Bawb took full advantage of that opening. And this is looking absolutely bleak for Ding. But he is still fighting with everything that he's got. And Bawb is just wailing away at Ding. A low blow by Ding takes Bawb off that vertical base of his. Being slow to return to his feet. He's taking any chance he can to rush at Bawb. Bawb catches him. Delayed vertical brainbuster. Hip toss by Ding. Ding catches the foot. Perfect opening for another low blow. Looking to go for half a dozen low blows at this point. Bawb was ready for the low blow that time. An overhead strike. Takes Ding off his feet. And a running lariat by Bawb sends Ding inside out. Bawb going for a chair now. I don't know what the hell he needs a chair for. As Bawb is starting to feel emotions, self-doubt, pondering, questioning what it will actually take to keep Ding down, what it will take to stop Ding from getting back to his own 2 feet. A shot to the head with that chair. Repeated chair shots as Ding is just on the mat, almost defenseless. My God, Bawb is looking to beat this man within an inch of his life. The worst thing about all this is that there's no security that can intervene on behalf of either of these men. There's no interference allowed in the casket match. The only way that either one of these men can put an end to this is when they choose so. Bawb has that opportunity here or now, but he is taking his sweet time. This twisted, sick, sadistic human being taking a lot of personal pleasure in cutting Ding down to size. Another chair shot to the dinger. Ding trying to get action back inside the ring where he could still secure a pinfall. Bawb keeping the action outside the ring where Ding has no advantage whatsoever. But Ding, he still has a little element of surprise with Bob's name on it. But Bawb, he's just in a newfound level of aggression here. He is absolutely feral here tonight. Ding returning Bawb back into the ring. Big wrench in the arm of Bawb, taking all the time to loosen up the tendons. Put as much strain on those arms as he possibly can. Bob trying to make a rush towards Ding. And Ding is finding the will, the sheer power to fight back. But for how long? Belly to back slam, courtesy of the Misfit. This is just an absolute mugging. This is an absolute mauling here. Steven Gilbert knew exactly what he was unleashing when he added that stipulation for his hired gun, the Misfit, the ultimate male to fulfill here. If this was any other bout, if this was any other type of match, this certainly could have been over by now. Bob is looking to put Ding to rest, and it might be quite the eternal one at this point. Last caress on the floor. Bob looking to get Ding into the casket. And what a message sent by the director. What a complete mullet. What an emasculation on our hands here tonight. I have never seen Ding at any point in his career brought to such vulnerability. I've never seen this man reduced to what we've seen here tonight. And if Bob is capable of doing these things, there's somebody as evergreen, as pristine, as elite as Ding, that is going to be bad news for anybody that wants a challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. Bob is just only one step away from calling himself a World Heavyweight Champion. And speaking of gargantuan tasks, coming up next, the Iron Gauntlet for the KPW Twitch Championship. The Twitch champion, the Diamond Dragon, Opulence, will be kicking off this bout. He will have to go the distance against 7 challengers. We know that T-Nova is entering this bout last. We know that Josue is going to be involved. Sigma Shuko is in this bout. The role model tape joining this absolutely ballistic lineup of combatants. For Opulence, he is ready for a fight here tonight, and he's gonna be in for the fight of his life. He's gonna have to overcome the odds. He's gonna be working against all odds. We talk about the odds working in the favor of champions or challengers. And he might have some decent favors to kick things off here, as it looks like Josue will be joining him. In these opening minutes of this bout. Josue a bit discounted, a bit down on his luck, but he has been very persistent and trying to build bridges ahead of this Iron Gauntlet. And joining the pack, the mastermind of the First Nation, Sigma Shuko. Not flanked by Slarty here tonight. Slarty still recovering from the beating that he took last month, courtesy of Chaos Control. Shuko clearly still not at 100%. That arm is still heavily bandaged. Luck of the draw may be on the side of Opulence, but he still has a 12.5% chance of being able to call himself Twitch Champion by the end of the night. And when he has men like the role model Tape hot on that chase for the Twitch Championship, and considering the other two men that are going to challenge Opulence as this Iron Gauntlet begins, this becomes a battle of will, a battle of endurance. Abe singling out Josue, looking to continue some business from several weeks ago when Tape, Josue, and T-Nova all competed in KPW's first ever three-way dance to determine who would be entering this bout last. We know for certain that T-Nova has the luck of the draw on his side, as he'll be entering 8th in this bout. Will be the freshest man in this match by far. He'll have all the opponents looking to take him out as quickly as he can. And if negotiations have been anything, if building bridges has been something that Josue has been trying to obtain here, T-Nova might need to take that offer into consideration. Shuko and Opulence duke it out one side of the ring. Josue and Tape in the other. Shuko trying to go for electric chair positions. No luck whatsoever. That bad arm still giving him problems. He's just fighting through the pain. He has refused to get surgery on that left bicep. Shuko has been competing on a near weekly basis. With a partial tear. You've seen Shuko come so close and yet come so far away from securing major victories here, but he was able to pick up a pretty major victory this past Monday night when he absolutely ran right through Nick Flawless. In singles action just 5 nights ago. He wasted no time that night, but he is gonna need to be even quicker. And he's gonna need to pick his battles even more carefully than he has before. Romero stretched by Tape, applying a lot more tension on that bad arm of Shuko. Opulence turns his attention to Josue. And Opulence, he picked up quite the shocking victory just last month at Mayhem to declare himself the Twitch champion. A night that none of us here will ever forget. Opulence challenged Pierre Cinema for the Twitch Championship, was able to capture the gold in nearly the span of 3.5 minutes. True underdog victory for Opulence. And if he has ever been considered an underdog in the history of his career, this may be the shining example of that. Opulence has to survive 7 of these combatants. This is only half the playing field as far as Opulence is concerned. When one man gets pinned or submitted, another man will enter. Last man standing rules are in effect. It is not one fall to a finish, folks. Chuko clearing the Twitch champion of the ring. And now Chuko clears tape of the ring. Josue running right into a drop kick to the knees. Josue only remaining on his feet by virtue of grabbing onto that top rope. Romero stretch from tape to Opulence. Release German from Chuko to Josue. Arm breaker counter by Josue. Taking a unique approach to things, looking to target the good arm of Sigma Chuko. Springboard moonsault by Josue. Leaping over the top rope, cut in the corner. And using that top rope like a trebuchet, landing perfectly on Sigma Chuko. Chuko going for a spinning wheel kick. Josue ducks it. And he just had his guard down just long enough for Opulence to capitalize on him. All 3 of these men making strong notes of that bad arm of Chuko. Chuko definitely the odd man out and perhaps the weakest man in this bout. And that level playing field is anything but level for the mastermind. Opulence taking the fight right to tape, and we have to say, Opulence, ever since he made his arrival here in KPW back in November, he has just been on an absolute tear. Making it to the final 3 of the Lethal Lottery Battle Royal back
1, 2.
at the end of March. Hanging in the balance with the likes of Jedi and Pierre Cinema. Performance, the acumen, the skill set of the Twitch champion, the Diamond Dragon, Opulence, has been a marvel to behold, a marvel to see develop week after week, month after month, and certainly year after year at this point. Schoolboy cover on tape.
Count 2.
And Tape just barely beating the count. Pendulum backbreaker by Shuko. Shuko crossing for position on Tape here. Finding the wherewithal, finding the opening. The inner strength to push through and secure a double powerbomb on Tape. Opulence, amidst all the chaos, cinching in that patented chandelier lock on Josue. And that would have been one hell of a way to thin the herd here in the Iron Gauntlet. Michinoku driver, only a 1 count. Shuko looking to slow down the competition however he can. If there is one thing he would like to keep an advantage over the rest of these competitors in, it is absolutely pertaining to speed. Speed is the name of the game, and having a lack of speed kills. Tape barely beating the count again. Good clothesline in the corner. Small package attempted on Opulence, and that would have been a hell of a scenario there. To see Opulence be the first man out, that would have guaranteed the crowning of a new Twitch champion here tonight. Orchard neck breaker on Josue, courtesy of Tape. Small package. And Josue is the first man out. And the director, Steven Gilbert, rushing down to ringside. To make this one of the strongest accolades of his career. Looking to make this a night of infamy for the deadly alliance between him and Bawb. As we saw earlier on tonight, Bawb overwhelmed and eviscerated Ding in our first ever casket match in KPW history. And of course, our opening bout for the American Championship, James Kay Zee continuing his ascent to the top as he cuts the momentum short, brings the party to a grinding halt for the returning King of Stego Style, Cory Sinclair. Another successful defense of the American Championship for James Kay Zee, and one has to wonder what is next for him with some of the challengers that he's been able to decimate here. Blue shell bomb by Steven Gilbert on Tape. Spinning heel kick attempted by Steven Gilbert. Tape counter with a low blow. Shuko going for a schoolboy on the outside on Opulence, but pinfalls do not count on the floor here, folks. And there's some complicated history going on inside that squared circle here tonight. Steven Gilbert, Tape, they are bound by one mutual thread. A man that they both chose to associate with here in KPW. Bawb, the hired gun for the director. Bawb, a man that ensured that he and Tape were the longest reigning tag team champions in KPW history. Nearly well over half a year, Bawb and Tape are unstoppable in the tag team division. And amidst all the chaos, we get some more cameras rolling on the issue here. It appears that Opulence, the Twitch champion. However low his chances were of pulling off a marathon run, he is now busted wide open. He is wearing the proverbial crimson mask here tonight. Opulence, Tope Con hello, onto the back of Sigma Shuko. Shuko trying to go for a suplex on the Twitch champion, bringing him back into the ring, but that bad arm gave in. Opulence was able to float over. And avoid any more unnecessary damage taken from the camp of the First Nation here tonight. Springboard missile drop kick to the Twitch champion, the Diamond Dragon. He is pouring blood. Now Steven Gilbert looking to continue the course of action that Bawb introduced in that casket match earlier on tonight. Steel chair in hand.
Count two.
Another kick out by Tape. Tape, he's got to be like a cat with 9 lives in there. He's had some extremely close shaves here in the Iron Gauntlet. Knife edge chop from Opulence. Schoolboy by Shuko. Look at us steal it. And Opulence is no longer the Twitch champion. He never saw it coming. Shuko looking to continue what he started this past Monday night, going right after the next entrant. Greek Machismo, Nick Flawless, the recipient, stereo power bombs. This is quite an awful start for Nick Flawless. Tape is still out cold from a blue shell bomb. Steven Gilbert getting a taste of his own medicine. Like a damn car wreck. Bodies are strewn all about the Kumite Forum here tonight. The Twitch champion being held to the back. He's a bloody mess. Or at least what we can now say, the former Twitch champion. Nick Flawless and Tape, they've had some battles here before in KPW history. Age matches, 2 out of 3 falls matches, you name it. Backslide attempt by Steven Gilbert. And Shuko hangs on. Steven Gilbert cleared of the ring and set right in front of the first rows of the forum here. Look at the leg on Tape now. Tape still hanging on. Tape and Nick Flawless, the only two men inside this ring that have never held any singles gold here in KPW. In the case of Nick Flawless, he has yet to win any sort of championship gold here in KPW. He's entering middle of the pack in this Iron Gauntlet. It's certainly not the worst position to be in, but he's still far from the best, and the best is still yet to come here, folks. We know that T Nova is the last man that will enter this gauntlet.
Count two.
But there is still one position in this bout that we have yet to discover. Who is the odd man out? Who is still left to enter the Iron Gauntlet? That suplex by Steven Gilbert, and this is a very similar situation to SummerSpark back in 2024. A hardcore gauntlet was contested that night. A gauntlet that Steven Gilbert, in fact, won. He's had a very tumultuous history here in KPW, say the very least, but that has been one of his shining beacons of achievement. David Gilbert outside of the ring. Nick Flawless and Shuko continuing their business inside the ring. And Shuko, he is just throwing hands like a madman, trying to keep Nick Flawless back. A shoulder checks Nick Flawless right to the guardrail. And Shuko, he is reeling at this point in time. He has been in this bout for 20 minutes. Shuko and Tape, the only two men in this bout left from the opening pack. Look, kicked by Tape. Tape turning his attention to Greek Machismo, and it's not a smart decision for Tape to try and pick a fight with as many combatants inside this gauntlet as possible. Tape had his guard lowered. Frostbite is cinched in on Tape. Tape rushes to the ropes. He frantically gets a rope break. Shuko now going for the frostbite on Nick Flawless, but does he have enough strength in that left arm of his to apply enough pressure? Can he pull back any of these men?
1, 2.
And that high angle Boston Crab, is he gonna be able to tap any man out? This is, and just to relay this, just to consider the irony at hand here. Shuko made such a big point to Slarty that he was fighting on far too many fronts, as Shuko has cleared one of those fronts himself. Tape is out of the competition here, and in his place is a heartthrob, Oppo. Not wasting any time, going right for Steven Gilbert as the action spilled out right in front of him. First Nation fighting on so many fronts is what created that opening for Slarty to be on the injury reserves for the past month. He's created too many fights all at once. Been a major source of tension for the First Nation. Shuko isn't it against the idea, the prospect of having another fight on his hands.
1.
But he just believes that there could be too much of a good thing. But more importantly, Shuko, he is still looking to meet in the middle with his tag team partner, Slutty. He is still looking to do what he can to compromise and make things right. Shuko slowly get back up to his feet outside the ring. Popo inside the ring. The freshest man of this bout by far now. And he's been setting the world ablaze over the course of the spring. Challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship multiple times, not just at Mayhem, but at Fear and Loathing, where he challenged Popcorn Papi in a title versus hair match. Big pile driver onto Nick Flawless. Popo turns attention in all different directions. Shuko with a tope suicida to the back of Steven Gilbert, pushing him right to the announce desk. O'Connor rolled by Popo. Folding up Nick Flawless. He's out of here. And that leaves just one man here tonight. A man looking to get his hands on the Twitch Championship once again. T-Nova. He's looking to call himself a two-time Twitch champion by means of this gauntlet. The very first night that T-Nova was here in KPW, back in Spring Stampede, he won the Twitch Championship. As we've seen over the course of the past several months, it appears that T-Nova seems to thrive in these more chaotic environments. These chaotic environments where you would have to fight more than one person at a time, where you would have to overcome the odds, where you would have to go through one hell of a gauntlet to obtain some championship gold. He has such skill, such confidence, such determination. It appears that the Twitch Championship is just laying in the corner of the ring. I believe Steven Gilbert tried to introduce that as a weapon just moments ago. Now Shuko's got the belt. Popo tossing the Twitch Championship out of the ring. Looking to fight Sigma Shuko fair and square here. Shuko favoring not just that left arm, but that left leg. He's damn near immobilized at this point. He is slowing down to a crawl. And somehow, some way, he is still in this. Another missile drop kick to Popo. Noggin knocker. Popo goes down. Shuko stays on his own 2 feet, staying on that vertical base. Shuko tossing Popo out of the ring. Moonsault down to the floor. But inside the ring, Steven Gilbert with some sinister intentions in mind for T-Nova. Nova going for that patented discus punch. Steven Gilbert taking that free opportunity, all that wind up wasted. And Steven Gilbert just goes below the belt on T-Nova. Release German suplex onto Steven Gilbert. Sleeper hold on T-Nova. Popo looking to secure a submission here.
One, two, count two.
Schoolboy attempted on Steven Gilbert, count of two, as Steven Gilbert stays alive. If we want to talk about braces, we want to talk about the elbow brace on Sigma Shuko protecting those biceps, specifically the left bicep. We got to talk about the braces on the knees of Steven Gilbert. Steven Gilbert, the biggest bully, the biggest brute in this bout. Getting battered with the steel chair. Popo busted wide open, I do believe. Keeping his distance away from Shuko.
1, 2, 3, eliminated.
Steven Gilbert dunked on his head. And we are down to 3. We are down to Popo. We are down to Shuko. We are down to T-Nova. We've heard for weeks, if not months at this point, in spite of the offers that Josue was making, T-Nova feels like he is above the prospect of having that alliance in effect. He feels like he could get the job done all by himself. And that is in his hands at this point. There is a 33% chance that T-Nova can now walk out of here a 2-time Twitch champion. Steven Gilbert absolutely incensed, absolutely enraged outside the ring that he was taken by surprise the way he was. Schoolboy by T-Nova onto Popo. There are chairs in the ring, there are stairs in the ring. There's the usage of a championship belt in this bout. Shuko whipping the steel steps at anybody in his line of sight here. And he is just completely out of breath. Shuko typically has quite a lot of cardio, quite a lot of gas in the tank. But he has been taking one hell of a beating from a long list of challengers here tonight. It's absolutely incredible that he's been in here for 30 minutes. T-Nova, Popo, the two freshest men in this bout. Slight advantage going to T-Nova. Need to see who's going to be the deadliest shark in this tank. Boston Crab attempted by Popo. T-Nova overwhelms him, overpowers him. And a swinging DDT by T-Nova is more than enough. Secure some more well-needed offense, to secure some well-needed domination. This is exactly what Josue was warning T-Nova about. The other two men in this bout, Shuko, Popo, even Steven Gilbert outside the ring, they're taking note of T Nova's conditioning at this point in this bout. Oh my God! Release German suplex onto the steps. And T Nova, he is just pushing through so much muscle memory. He certainly doesn't have a glass jaw to be taking such offense like this and hanging in there. Big splash on T Nova, and he still kicks out. Yuko, he's just swinging that chair like a madman. He is looking to take out anybody and everybody that is still occupying this ring. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Shuko, he is
1, 2.
lucky. He'd be a lucky man to say that he is competing at 50% at this point. Viral press by Popo. Cover on T Nova.
Eliminated.
And that steel chair was enough to do the job. And for T Nova, we are down to 2. One of these two men will be able to declare themselves the new Twitch champion. Will it be Shuko? Will it be Popo? Who wants it more? Popo floating out of that suplex attempt. That bad arm of Shuko. Making its presence felt at the worst opportunities. And Shuko taking quite a unique approach at this point. He doesn't know how much power he's got left. He doesn't know how much more he can withstand here, how much more strain he could put on that left arm of his, specifically the bicep. Popo, Irish whip, big forearm strike. Shuko slow to get back to his feet here. Those knee strikes by Shuko, scouted, countered, deflected by Popo. Popo going for the O'Connor roll here. This could be it. Lights out for Shuko, and no! There's still a little bit of fight left in the mastermind, Sigma Shuko. Irish whip into the corner, a spinning back heel kick to the face. Catches Popo flush across the jaw. Shuko is a one-armed man in an ass-kicking contest. Popo is a bloody mess. But something has got to give between these two men. Even Gilbert now picking a fight outside the ring against T Nova. Ringside officials scrambling to uphold some level of security, some level of order outside the ring. This night has been absolutely hectic, absolutely chaotic inside the ring. Shuko barking orders at Popo to get back inside the ring. He wants the whole world to see him pull off the impossible, pull off what even he would have thought as improbable. Shuko, he is taking all the time in the world. He's looking to show the people what this is all about here. Clocking Popo with the Twitch Championship. Moving quick. We're gonna chop down Popo by the legs. Take out the Texas T, then padded super kick. Looking to dish out one of his own. Frostbite to follow it up. And I don't know how the hell Popo is still in it. But he managed to wrestle one of those legs free to initiate a rope break. That could have been disastrous. That was incredibly risky, as Shuko would have still had a single leg Boston Crab applied. Big splash from the top rope, courtesy of Popo. High fetch chop in the corner. A kick to the side of Popo. Shuko finding some new life, finding some more confidence here. But he's got one hell of a fight on his hands. Shuko started this bout 38.5 minutes ago. Popo was the second to last man to enter the Iron Gauntlet. And how much left does Shuko have left to fight with? Texas T once again. Shuko not going for once or twice, but 3 times now. Oh, he wants to make absolutely sure that there's no getting out of this one. Popo, middle of the ring. Frostbite cinching deep. Pulling back with all of his might. And Shuko, he's just so exhausted. He gave out right before Popo was about to reach the ropes. He needs this now more than ever. He needs a miracle to believe in. Float over, counter it from that suplex. Shuko! Stereo powerbomb! Cover!
1, 2, 3, eliminated.
Oh my God!
No chance for that much, young guy.
The mastermind Sigma Shuko is a miracle man tonight. He fought hard against Opulence, Josue, Tape, Nick Flawless, Steven Gilbert, T Nova, and last but not least, Popo. He fought through a bad bicep. He fought through everything that the First Nation could throw at him. And now he stands tall as our new KPW Twitch Champion. What a marathon performed by Sigma Shuko. He maximized all of his minutes here tonight. He picked his battles extremely wisely. And now, for the first time in his career, he can now call himself the KPW Twitch Champion. But coming up next here, folks, a grudge match, a rematch. Just 1 month ago, the Viceroy takes on the Scrapyard Saint. Jedi takes on one of the representatives of the Hellhounds, Solo, in just a few short moments. It was just 1 month ago, ladies and gentlemen, that Solo was able to pick up the biggest victory of his career with an assist from K-Dog, a man that is absolutely sidelined here tonight. A man that has a long road of recovery ahead of him. Biting off just a little bit more than he could chew. But now Solo has to go it alone. He has to prove to the world that what happened last month at Mayhem was not a fluke. He has to make this look as good as he possibly can. He has to convince the world that he can be on the level of the Viceroy. The longest reigning World Heavyweight Champion in KPW history, the 2026 Lethal Lottery winner. One of the biggest sharks in the ocean. And one of the nastiest men in the KPW locker room, the Viceroy Jedi, has been waiting to rectify those wrongs made just 1 month ago. Jedi only getting involved with the Hellhounds out of protecting his own personal business. Capture suplex by Jedi. Overhead chop by the Viceroy. Big drop kick by Solo. Suplex attempted by Solo, denied by the Viceroy. Arm drag. Another snap suplex, successful this time. And these two men, they have everything to prove here. Jedi's climb back to the top has been very tumultuous, ladies and gentlemen. We did not expect the path that we have seen Jedi set himself on ever since he returned back in February, ever since he won the Lethal Lottery match back in Spring Stampede. He's been picking his battles, he's been picking his business relationships very, very carefully. And he's looking to deal out a serious deck of cards against Solo here. Solo's had some serious skirmishes with the likes of Popcorn Papi, our World Heavyweight Champion, the Heartthrob Popo, Dynamite Danny Axel. Ever since Bunker Hill dissolved back in April, Solo, alongside K-Dog, he's been running absolutely amok here in KPW. Jedi, he is going out of his way to make sure that he can humble Solo here tonight. It was almost 2 years ago where we saw Jedi make his in-ring debut here in KPW at a SummerSpark event. The first of 3 iconic bouts against the biggest rival of his entire career. The star attraction, Pierre Cinema. Jedi looking to move quick here. Going for the sledgehammer on Solo. Looking to put an end to this before it ever gets started. Sledgehammer with authority.
2, 3, pinfall.
And Solo could not go back-to-back months keeping the upper hand on the Viceroy here tonight. The Solo that we saw march into mayhem last month to fight Jedi approach this battle with a different pretense, a different layer of confidence, always having that backup in his back pocket. But there was no backup here tonight. Jedi was able to put away the Scrapyard Saint with laser focused determination. We get another look at one of those dangerous moves in all of KPW. The sledgehammer planting Solo in the center of the ring. Another target off the back of Jedi, and another opportunity for the Viceroy to get right back to business. Congratulations to Jedi on one hell of a singles victory here tonight. But coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, our third of 4 championship bouts here tonight. Bloom, Bilko, The Scheme make their first ever championship defense in their careers just 2 weeks after winning the gold against quite possibly the largest tag team in KPW history. The overwhelming size, the disparity at hand here. A David versus Goliath team in the making here. Kruger, Papyrus, Chaos Control, challenge for the gold. Chaos Control, free of the shackles of Parliament, free of the shackles of their former monarch, Oliver English. What Josue considered to be a blessing to give these men freedom has been a curse for the tag team division. They've done serious damage to the First Nation. They picked the scraps of the Deadly Alliance just 2 weeks ago on Warzone. And now the scheme, they're in for their first championship defense ever. And it may very well be the toughest one they will ever make in their careers. If Bloom and Bilko have a chance to keep their championship reign intact, they are going to have to outwit, they're going to have to outsmart the competition by any means necessary. We saw a counter by Kruger, who's kicking off this bout for Chaos Control. Chaos Control in their silver and black apparel. Tandem offense by the scheme in the red and silver apparel.
Break.
And Chaos Control, they have been an absolute tour de force in the tag team division.
2.
Just 1 year ago, Kruger and Papyrus were just lackeys, just henchmen, castaways for Oliver English to use that silver tongue against and warp their minds on a weekly, monthly, and nightly basis.
Break.
And now the big man enters about all 400 pounds worth of them. Papyrus, with an assist from Kruger, delivers a hellacious suplex to Bloom. With reversal into the corner, bicycle kick to the face of Bloom. And think of the size boot that Papyrus is rocking here tonight. Oh my God!
1, 2,
Bloom
3.
might have been out of his freaking mind
5.
to try and suplex a 400-pound man back into the ring. Papyrus suplexing him out of the ring.
10. 11.
Bilko with the Acai moonsault assist.
13. 14.
And this is already spiraling out of control here.
16. 17.
Out of 18, Kruger, Bloom, they need to return back into the ring, and they beat the count.
20. Count out.
And the scheme. Amidst all the chaos, Papyrus, I believe, is still the legal man. Pulling one over.
Diggity dog.
Oh, the big man kept him occupied as he wanted to continue inflicting one hell of an assault on the scheme. One hell of a count out victory, making out of there like bandits. Keeping that tag team championship reign intact by any means necessary. Certainly the unexpected result here tonight within the tag team division. But if we want to talk about any means necessary, it is time to talk about the main event, folks. World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs. Popcorn Papi looking to defy the odds. Fighting through a world of hurt, fighting through a world of pain, just barely being able to get medically cleared for this bout here as he defends the gold against a caged animal, a dangerous, a desperate, a two-faced Dynamite Danny Axel. We look at this tail of the tape. Popcorn Papi with the slight reach advantage, a considerable weight advantage. Dynamite Danny Axel, he's been on a roll here. He's only lost once in the time that he's been back here in KPW, and moves like the plunge have certainly sealed the deal. Time and time again, Popcorn Papi being a recipient of that move this past Monday night. The Popcorn Papi, he's got quite a couple tricks in his bag as well. He's got the pump handle slam, he's got the snap, crackle, and pop. Moves that he has used to secure the World Heavyweight Championship from men that Dynamite Danny Axel has trained before he made his return to the ring. Popcorn Papi has been world champion for 90 days, potentially counting. This would be his fourth defense. He has been a fighting champion in every stretch of the imagination. He's had to fight his former brethren time and time again. He's had to do whatever it took to make sure that nobody could interfere here tonight. And it's cost him his health, it's cost him his well-being. But will it cost him a World Heavyweight Championship? Is Popcorn Papi capable of pulling off a miracle here tonight? It is time for our main event. Dynamite Danny Axel, Popcorn Papi, World Heavyweight Championship on the line in the main event of SummerSpark. This man has burned every single bridge that he has made from the time that he announced his comeback to professional wrestling. He has stabbed his friends like Jedi in the back. He has taken advantage of the men that trained him like Bulldog Bill Braxis. He has led the band bus astray. And he is thinking to secure the World Heavyweight Championship on what may be the easiest night of his career. But Popcorn Papi sure as hell ain't gonna make it easy. Oh my God. Popcorn Papi, the odds just continuing to stack against the World Heavyweight Champion. Chest heavily bandaged, those ribs heavily bruised from that car wreck several weeks ago. And Dynamite Danny Axel rushing him. Oh, Popcorn Papi had his back turned. By any means necessary. This is exactly the playbook that has been on disposal as the true intentions, the true nature of Dynamite Danny Axel continues to unravel itself, to reveal itself. This arrogant, two-faced son of a bitch. Popcorn Papi, he is fired up. He is all bandaged up. He has a glaring weak spot, and Dynamite Danny Axel wasted no time to exploit it. One can only imagine the kind of pain that Popcorn Papi is enduring here tonight. We've seen miracles performed earlier on tonight.
3, 4, 5.
That is exactly what the World Heavyweight Champion needs. Popcorn Papi, green apparel, gold trim. Dynamite Danny Axel, gold apparel with red trim.
14.
This has been a fierce rivalry bubbling underneath the surface. Even when the mentors of Dynamite Danny Axel, like Bill Braxton, step in, warning him not to underestimate the will of a man with everything to lose. Arrogance still gets the best of him. This wouldn't be the first time that Popcorn Papi would have to go into a bout like this as a complete underdog. Nobody thought he was capable of defeating Pando for the World Heavyweight Championship, and he proved to be Pando's kryptonite. And now he has to show to the world that he is capable of humbling Dynamite Danny Axel. But Dynamite Danny Axel, he is just making light work here. He is just going after the ribs over and over and over again. Every underhanded tactic in the book, every shortcut that has ever been conceived on the road to the top, Dynamite Danny Axel is choosing that low road more and more. We never thought we would see the day where a man like Robbie Deuce could be a voice of reason. Still getting choked up thinking about it. Popcorn Papi checking Dynamite off the apron. And now he's taking all the time to mock and taunt the challenger, looking to get inside the head of Dynamite Danny Axel.
1, 2,
Popcorn Papi displaying some
4.
ring domination.
1.
He is in full control of everything
3.
within those pink ropes.
4. 5. 6.
Papi, they're gonna go up
7.
top, but he thinks better of it.
8.
It's a lot of risk that he'd be
9.
applying to himself.
10.
Making such high risk calls like that. Down at 12. A Dynamite Danny Axel looking to retrieve weapons. And he knows damn well that Popcorn Papi is nowhere close to 100%, and he still feels threatened enough to pull out weapons. Diving knee from the top, nobody home. The gaslighting, the cowardice on display from Dynamite Danny Axel. Slingshot back into the ring here. Going after the legs of Popcorn Papi, figure 4 cinched in deep. Popcorn Papi reaching for the ropes though. Snap suplex onto the challenger. And Popcorn Papi just moving a little bit slower than usual. And who could blame him? Hip toss. And that certainly took the breath out of the World Heavyweight Champion. Tiger Bomb attempted. Popcorn Papi saves himself. High kick from Dynamite Danny Axel takes Popcorn Papi off of his feet. And the Axel doing everything in his power to try and prioritize attacking the ribs of Popcorn Papi, attacking the ribs of the World Heavyweight Champion. Popcorn Papi creating new weaknesses. Whenever he gets a new chance to shift the momentum, he might have a bad knee going out of this bout, but he's certainly gone into this. Bruised ribs. I don't know how the hell he's pushing through all of this. A 10 count in the corner. Referee Slapthigh Jones officiating the main event, pulling Dynamite Danny Axel out of the corner. They'll give him to the count of 5 here. Super hold attempted on Popcorn Papi, but Popcorn's at the ropes. Another Tiger Bomb attempted on Popcorn Papi. The larger frame of the world champion being a saving grace here. And that double underhook position creates so much more tension on the torso of Popcorn Papi. His limited mobility, his limited movements really working against him here tonight. But this has just been a slugfest here. They've taken the fight right to each other. Another running kitchen sink. Popcorn Papi clutching those ribs of his. I think I just saw him cough blood. Whatever adrenaline he still has left in the tank, he needs to make the most of it right here and now. Dynamite Danny Axel is looking to pick him apart here. Another high kick from Dynamite Danny Axel, taking the time to hot dog grandstand, showboat in front of these paying fans here tonight in the forum. Inside cradle by the champion. And Dynamite kicks out here. Popcorn Papi trying to feed off the energy of the people here tonight. And that created one hell of an opening for Dynamite Danny Axel to go for another low blow on a champion. The way to championship glory is being paved with cruel intentions here tonight by Dynamite Danny Axel. And Popcorn Papi, he is not willing to quit whatsoever. He is keeping the fight for as long as he possibly can. Tiger Bomb, third time's a charm. Cover, new champion? No. Popcorn Papi kicks out of the Tiger Bomb. Running right into a pile driver, folding up the champ. Look at the leg, but Popcorn Papi saved by the rope break. A huge source of controversy from Popcorn Papi's own chase for the World Heavyweight Championship. It is now a roadblock for Dynamite Danny Axel. Dynamite going for a shoulder block from the top rope. Popcorn Papi slams him face first into the mat. Knife edge chops. Step up enziguri by Dynamite Danny Axel. Keeping the action as frantic as he possibly can. Irish whip into the corner. Dynamite picking Popcorn Papi up top here. Big superplex. Hook in the leg. Inside leg. It's got to be it. No. Popcorn Papi hangs in. The endurance, the amount of tolerance for pain that the world champion is showcasing here tonight is absolutely incredible, absolutely unbelievable. Dynamite Danny Axel, he is so much better conditioned going into this bout. He's at 100%. He's well rested. He's had quite the easy pass to this main event here over the course of the past month, including the fastest win in KPW history when he pinned K-Dog in just 23 seconds. This is first match since that night. Big superplex once again. Even more damage to the ribs. Even more damage to that lower back. Dynamite, he is just scrambling to keep his distance from Popcorn Papi. He has no idea what the hell is compelling the world champion to keep fighting the way that he does. Another back suplex by Popcorn Papi. And he is fighting through some serious pain. You can tell he is just in serious discomfort. But he knows that he has to move quickly. He can't afford to take a break against Dynamite. Dynamite trapping Popcorn Papi in the tree of woe, taking those free shots away at the ribs of the world champion. Like a hunter toying around with his prey. Guillotine choke cinched in on the champion. Same move that we saw in action against Bulldog Bill Braxis just 2 weeks ago on Warzone. Waistlock counter, abdominal stretch of Popcorn Papi. He's got to be in a world of hurt. But Popcorn Papi, he refuses to say die. He refuses to give Danny Axel the satisfaction here tonight. He is going through some serious trial by fire here tonight.
One, two.
But he is not going to quit. He is certainly not going to quit for these people. He is not going to quit after everything that he's been through. Sleeper hold cinched in on Popcorn Papi.
One, two, count two.
Oh my God! Flying forearm countered by the champion.
Break.
Dynamite Danny Axel. That smaller frame of his, that smaller reach that he has compared to the champion. He had to fight a little bit harder just to get to that rope break. Irish whip from pillar to post. More thrusts into the ribs of Popcorn Papi. And he's still not finished. Look at Dynamite Danny Axel. He's practically daring Popcorn Papi to get back up because he knows damn well that Popcorn Papi isn't willing to stay down. But a strike in the corner. Popcorn Papi trying to mount up whatever comeback that he can here. Main event of SummerSpark World Heavyweight Championship up for grabs. This could be the biggest adversity that Popcorn Papi has ever faced in his career. Dynamite Danny Axel trying to put an end to this. Oh my God, not like this! On Pandal Slam!
Count two.
Oh my, thank God! Popcorn Papi still has some life left. He wasn't gonna let Dynamite Danny Axel take him down like that. There is no possible reality. There is no possibility that Danny Axel was going to secure the win that way. Popcorn Papi was not going to give him the time of day to let him have that. And this is what we mean when we say Popcorn Papi's a fighting champion. He is fighting till the bitter end.
3,
Big splash on a Dynamite. Even if that's taking as much out of him as it is Dynamite, the end result is that Dynamite Danny Axel is going to be reeling from it.
9, 10, 11, 12.
Popcorn Papi realizes at this point in time, at this fixture in time, that he cannot settle
16, 17.
for getting a leg up on Dynamite Danny Axel. He is never going to batter or bruise Dynamite as badly as he's been bruised.
1, 2, count 2.
But what he can hope for, what he can count on here tonight is collateral damage. He knows every bit of this bout is going to hurt him, but he is hoping that he can hurt Dynamite Danny Axel just a little bit more. And sometimes that little bit extra is going to be all that he needs. Popcorn Papi. Yelling at Dynamite, is that the best that you got? Another kick out by the world champion. The resilience on display here tonight. You could love him, you could hate him, you could feel however you want about Popcorn Papi, but he is certainly fighting to earn the respect of these people here tonight, the faithful in the Kumite Forum. Cover!
2.
And this is when Popcorn Papi, he has got no choice but to dig down deep here. Backslide pin, extra tension on the arms. Ripping and tearing. Stretching out Popcorn Papi. And Popcorn Papi takes a tumble. Dynamite Danny Axel brutalizing the World Heavyweight Champion here tonight. A drop kick from Popcorn Papi. They're gonna fall over the dive down to the floor. High risk. And he didn't get the high reward.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Popcorn Papi.
12.
He is in absolute agony on the floor. He is just
14. 15.
fundamentally broken down. He is fundamentally abused at this point
17.
at the hands of the challenger, Dynamite Danny Axel. Count of 18, taking his sweet time outside the ring, doing as much damage as possible.
1, 2,
And that's gotta be it.
2.
No! Where the hell is he getting this from? Dynamite soaring up top. Big splash onto Popcorn Papi. We're gonna crush the ribs of the champion. Noggin knocker, center of the ring. Dynamite Danny Axel tries going for the running kitchen sink, but Popcorn Papi stumbles back, trying to regain his balance. Popcorn Papi baiting in Dynamite Danny Axel. mind games might be all that Popcorn Papi has left. I don't know what's left after that pile driver. Whip it to the corner. Trying to snap the arms of Popcorn Papi. That'll take out that pump handle drop. That'll take out the snap, crackle, and pop. Some of Popcorn Papi's most destructive maneuvers all depend on the strength of his arms. Taking a plunge. Oh, that's gotta be it. And Popcorn Papi's safe by the rope break. Dynamite Danny Axel in complete and total disbelief. Oh my God. Dynamite mockingly throwing up the X here for the World Heavyweight Champion. He has completely laid him out here tonight. He's looking to drag him center of the ring here, taking the pin.
2, count 2.
And Popcorn Papi. He is still in this. He is still fighting with every fiber left in his being. Danny Axel took a bit long to go for that pinfall, but he is getting absolutely ahead of himself, and now he's mocking the champion. He's absolutely mocking him. He is toying around with his prey. Popcorn Papi kicked through the ropes, struggling desperately to stay at the top of his own 2 feet, trying to stay alive by any means necessary. Kicks to the head of Popcorn Papi. Popcorn still hanging in there. 27 minutes and counting. This has been a night of endurance here at SummerSpark. This isn't just a battle on the beach. This is a full-blown war here tonight. Popcorn Papi trying to rally the fans behind him here. Dynamite Danny Axel, just when Popcorn Papi gets a chance to pull the reins back in and get this bout back under control, Dynamite Danny Axel takes a shortcut. He exploits those ribs like he's doing here once again. I don't know what the hell's gonna be left of this man.
2, 3.
And Dynamite Danny Axel going for the ring bell. Absolute desperation here. Popcorn Papi momentarily wailing away at the challenger here. As he clocks him with the ring bell. Not like this. For the love of God, not like this. Awkward Papi trying to sidestep Danny Axel for as long as he can. Runs right into the roundhouse kick. Taking the plunge. Come on, man.
One,
kick out, man.
two,
Kick out.
3.
Damn. The triumph that Popcorn Papi has fought so long and so hard for has just come to a tragic conclusion. He was caught in a no-win battle against a man desperate to scratch and crawl his way to the top of the mountain. And he has done so here tonight. Our new World Heavyweight Champ. What the hell is this? No, this can't be. Oh my God. Dynamite Danny Axel. Does he realize what he just signed himself up for? Jedi's got the briefcase. Oh my God. And he's wailing away at the champion. The deal was with Popcorn Papi. There's nothing stopping Jedi now. Dynamite Danny Axel's a bloody mess thanks to that Duraloman briefcase. Oh my God, is he cashing in?
Ladies and gentlemen, Jedi is cashing in his 2026 Lethal Lottery contract. To conclude SummerSpark, Dynamite Danny Axel will be defending the KPW World Heavyweight Championship against the Viceroy. Jedi, let the match officially begin.
This is absolutely unprecedented.
1, 2.
Dynamite took so long just trying to pick apart the world champion. Trying to pick apart Popcorn Papi. He doesn't have anything left in the tank. This is payback for Monday night. Dynamite should be careful for what he wished for. Sledgehammer!
1, 2, 3. Pinfall.
And just as quickly as he burst back upon the scene to rise to the mountaintops, he has fallen from grace. Karma is a bitch. And the Viceroy was the one to dish it out. Lethal Lottery has been cashed in. We have the first ever 2-time World Heavyweight Champion, and his name is Jedi. Dynamite Danny Axel is going to regret that Monday night for the rest of his life. Everything that he worked hard for, everything he worked towards, to call himself the world champion. He has just lost it in the blink of an eye, and all he had to do was just play his cards correctly. What is this gonna mean for Monday night? What is this gonna say for Warzone? The era of the Viceroy has officially resumed. I have been Tapy Styles, the only man that can call the action right down the middle, flying solo as always. Wishing you all a good night, everybody.